everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is, we love to see this card coming up today as our first card. Again, especially because we saw, I have to tell you, the profundity of 8, 9, and 10 cards that we received yesterday were immense. This is speaking of a lot of energy may have reaching a point of amplification yesterday, feeling like a lot of things were reaching a bit of that make or break moment. But again, we like to see that make or break moment because that is the catalyst for change. This is going to feel like a lot more calming energy that is entering circumstances or situations right now. For masculine and feminine energy in partnership, this is going to be a bit of peace. What did we see that the energy in partnership was happening or having occur yesterday? Feminine was going through moments of self-doubt. Masculine was doing everything they could to be the feminine's champion, reminding them of their own power. Feminine is now feeling that wave of calmness and peace because, again, the amplification of the message that was coming through in the divine union yesterday was the importance and the value of having one another, the partnership being in the triumph to a certain extent of the energies that are in partnership. We even observed yesterday a lot of that moment that was coming through for divine union and partnership in reminding one another that this isn't a race, that being in divine union and partnership is not a mission in trying to get somewhere, but more trying to embody the beauty of the partnership in the present moment. There may have even been a lot of conversation that was happening yesterday in divine union and partnership, saying, because what we've been seeing is a masculine that's been trying to find points of easement, feminine that's been very focused on work. The recognition point of saying, what is the point of doing all of this if we cannot enjoy it? Trying to find that balance point right now is key in the divine unions and partnerships. For masculine and feminine energy that is moving into partnership right now, this is going to be feeling like a bit of that water easing up. Why? Because again, feminine has seen, is witnessing, watching masculine doing that hard work, taking those difficult steps for the sake of the feminine. And further, we saw that masculine moving into partnership yesterday, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, almost reassured the feminine energy that they did not feel like they were doing it solely for the benefit of the feminine, but instead doing it for the partnership. That is creating the sense of peace for feminine, because this is the feminine looking at masculine and being like, they get it. They understand. They understand what we're trying to do here. And that is creating a sense of peace right now, or at least momentary peace and catharsis for the feminine energy trying to come into partnership. Masculine, this may be feeling, if you're trying to come into partnership, the last couple of days have been like ripping a Band-Aid off to a certain extent. It's something that like may have made you scream out, may have been really uncomfortable, may have created some static. Things are starting to settle down now. You're starting to see the calmer water on the other side of some of that waterfall that you had to go over to go into divine union and partnership right now. That is, again, going to feel like almost a moment of peace that is coming into some circumstances or situations. Masculine energy in separation, there's more of a feeling of not being able to go back. What we're seeing right now for the energy in separation is, again, there may have been a moment of a lot of heavy energy yesterday, as there was almost the dawning realization to a feminine about the fact that you haven't initiated or taken movement in terms of something that you discussed with that feminine energy, holding on to your own feeling of remorse about the circumstances, but also feeling validated by your choice, because again, this is a moment that what is almost being amplified or articulated is the fact that something that the feminine was asking you to do, you're either too cautious to do right now, or your heart isn't necessarily in it. This is for the masculine energy and separation, potentially feeling bittersweet, because this is almost a moment coming through about having to let some energy down in order to avoid the greater hurt of potentially misleading someone in the wrong direction. Feminine energy, you are effectively also coming to peace with some things right now in separation, because this is a feminine energy that is almost coming into a state of embodying the current situation. The feminine energy is almost realizing that this isn't a moment that they have to fight against. More, they just have to embody and feel what they are feeling in this moment to allow themselves the peace to be able to move forward from this point. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is Ace of Pentacles, and we love to see this card right now because what we are really identifying is, again, why did we have to go through all of that rockiness over the last few days? Why did we have to go through that eclipse cycle? So that we could see the opportunities on the other side. It's like, why did the bear go over the mountain? The bear, to see what they could see. This is almost having to go through all of those difficulties to see what was on the other side of it. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is in divine union and divine partnership. This is, again, almost recognizing and appreciating the value of the partnership. The partnership is a space or place that creates peace. It creates easement. It creates security. And it allows you to focus your concentration on what you are trying to bring forth into the world. That is the beauty of it. It allows you to put your effort and energy into tangibles instead of all of the emotional stuff. It's almost like this is a moment of feeling like a lot of the energy right now in partnership is almost appreciating the partnership because it really allows you to get to work. It really allows you to focus on what it is that you need to focus on and having the peace and security as you do so. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to come into partnership. This is effectively why you went through all of that difficulty. Masculine, you're potentially experiencing this right now. This is a masculine that had to go through some difficulties potentially over the last week or so to come into divine union. But this is exactly what you like. It's like the calmness of the partnership. It's the easement of the partnership. It's not needing, it may be feeling right now like masculine, like pulling themselves out of some kind of pool to be like, I will fight no more forever. It's almost like the masculine being like, I'm done with that rat race. I'm done with having to go through all of that drama. And that's masculine effectively choosing the partnership because the partnership creates a sense of peace and opportunity that, again, is what the masculine energy trying to move into partnership right now is seeking. They recognize the value and the beauty of the divine union and the fact that they're giving it to it. Because that's why, again, these energies are looking very much like the partnered energies because they've come into partnership. Feminine, you are also feeling this right now. You're like, you see, this could feel a little more frustrating for the feminine energy right now that's moving into partnership right now with masculine. Because this is almost energetically the energy that's coming into partnership with masculine right now is almost this moment of feminine going to masculine and being like, do you see how easy this is? Do you see how easy this could be? This is it. It's the fact that it doesn't have to be as difficult as you've been making things. For feminine, it's almost a moment right now that's just like, I'm trying to tell this person this, they're finally getting it, but it's almost coming through as a feeling of relief right now for feminine that's coming into partnership in this way. It is, again, making a lot of that conflict feel somewhat worthwhile. Now, masculine and feminine energy in separation. What we are effectively seeing is, again, this is the clearing of the karmic cycle. Feminine energy is literally looking at something right now and they are affirming to themselves in separation, I'm not going to fight for divine union and divine partnership. This is, again, how the feminine energy right now, regardless of whether the feminine energy has just recently come into separation, which isn't feeling like a separation right now. It's feeling like the completion of the cycle. This is feminine energy coming in out of separation into completion by effectively affirming to themselves and saying to a certain extent, I'm not going to fight for a divine partnership. You cannot fight for a divine partnership. It is not something that can be won. It cannot be something that you can convince someone of. Someone either has to recognize the value of it or they don't. And this is the feminine saying, I am abandoning anything that feels like I have to fight for it. I am instead looking for things that are offering it. Feminine is again, more of the feminine being like, I am feeling very confident in terms of moving forward from this point. We love to see this shift in the feminine energy. Feminine energy may also be feeling like this because this is almost feminine energy realizing that's as long as you take your mind off of that thing that you're fighting on, out of that place that you've been trying to fight for, you suddenly see all of the opportunities that are around you. All of them being like, oh my gosh, they've been here the whole time. I've been too worried about that to see all of this. This is literally the feminine turning their head 45 degrees and being like, oh, hi, what's up? Almost like immediately. Masculine energy in separation or move just, again, masculine energy that just intentionally moved back into separation. This is potentially why. There's almost a feeling right now of this energy effectively pulling out of something, taking the thing that they learned from one thing and wanting to bring it to another. And this is why it is feeling like such a heavy karmic energy for this masculine, because this is a masculine that, again, recognize the fact that it's not that they did not take something from that last energy. It's not that they didn't learn something valuable. It's just this moment that they're feeling like, again, it's not a space. It's like it's wanting to figure out where you want to take this right now. And there's a lot of intentionality right now here. There's a lot of this moment for masculine and separation that feels very bittersweet, because it's feeling like a lot of lessons learned, and almost feeling like there's a point of something that you've moved away from has now built the point of clarification to you on exactly what you need to give going forward, that is going to allow for something that feels more stable, that's going to allow for something that feels more solid. This is really a masculine energy that's moving in separation right now, but with a lot of intentionality as to where you want to direct your offer, because this was really a moment that you were about to move into commitment to a certain extent, and you've decided instead that you want to bring that commitment somewhere else. Center card for today's spread is Empress energy in its reversal. Now, what's really significant and what's really important right now as it relates to the masculine and the feminine energy that is moving right now in a space or state of partnership is this is still a moment of the feminine energy, still feeling and carrying some of those doubts that we saw rising to the surface yesterday. Again, this was almost a feminine energy that needed the masculine to give them a bit of a pep talk. They needed a bit of that like emotional, energetic boost from masculine right now, even in the point or the specific situation wherein they were discovering that they could not generate it themselves. It's not the fact right now that we are seeing that the feminine isn't completely completely back to 100%, as it were. But instead, the feminine energy is almost allowing this a point to recognize and to embody what they are feeling at this time. And this is a feminine energy that, again, it's not the fact that everything is perfect right now. It is a moment where the feminine is, again, much like they were doubting their own abilities yesterday, we're almost seeing here the moment that like this is a feminine energy that's trying to like ground themselves back into themselves, like not trusting their own logic, but now almost like not trusting their own heart to a certain degree. This is a feminine energy that's been going, it's like we're almost seeing the feminine energy like literally trying to alchemize and process this energy right now in divine union and partnership by like trying to like just like ground it out of themselves, just allow it to like move through, and almost feminine recognizing to a certain extent that there's something about this, that there is an element of time that's just going to be needed. There's almost an element right now of feminine that it's not necessarily even feeling like you can fight against what you're feeling right now. It's just something that you have to navigate through. It's not really creating a space or state where you're feeling very passionate. This is going to feel, again, we're almost getting a lot of energy right now that almost feels a little disassociative for the feminine energy that's in divine union and partnership right now, because again, it's feeling like a little bit of a blah energy, given the fact, and this isn't surprising to see, feminine's been going through a bit of an emotional roller coaster. This is literally like a feminine energy that's like trying to like ease back into that state of calmness. And what's the feminine doing right now? Feminine energy is effectively doing that by navigating those feelings, by trying to focus on staying calm in whatever implementation you potentially have that allows for a practice of leveling off your own energy. This is what we're seeing the feminine energy in partnership would potentially be doing a lot right now. Masculine energy, you could be seeing this on the part of the feminine right now. It may be feeling like, again, this feminine energy is still in a state or space where they may be feeling a little bit more disassociated from you. They may be pulling back a lot from like emotionality or passion right now, but this is again a feminine energy that's working really hard to come into a space of grounding. You may even be recognizing this right now with masculine, because we're seeing that you've been effectively having to give the feminine energy these points of encouragement over the last few days. So we're even seeing here right now that this is a masculine energy that is almost trying to give the feminine energy a little bit of a wide berth still. But again, just trying to say to the feminine, I'm here to support you in whatever you need at this time. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is working to come into partnership at this moment. This is, again, what are we seeing? This is more the feminine navigating the fact that this is not the romance situation that the feminine effectively aspired to when they wanted to come into partnership. This is almost the feminine assessing what it's taken to come into union right now and being like, well, this certainly isn't the love story that I subscribed for. This isn't effectively what I was hoping for, because again, this is feeling a little bit like a lot of chaos to move into divine union. Having to watch a masculine instrumentally shut down around a lot of things around them to be able to come into partnership in this way. It's making the feminine energy feel a little bit crestfallen, because again, it doesn't feel hyper romantic. It just kind of feels very much like something that had to be practically addressed. But the feminine is almost telling themselves to a certain extent, that's okay. Feminine would rather in this momentum forego the romance of a situation for the reality. The feminine's almost allowing that to be the balance point here as they continue forward in this way. Masculine that's trying to come into partnership right now, you may be recognizing this on the part of the feminine. You may be observing the fact that there's something here that feels a little bittersweet, because again, this is a feminine. It's not the fact that everything is feeling very violins and carriage rides here between you and this feminine energy. This is almost a moment that is feeling like you have to slam something on the table for them and be like, I did it. I did that thing. I did that hard thing you asked me to do. And feminine's almost like, I didn't want it to be under these situations. This is almost that observation of the fact that and for masculine in this modality, it could almost be seeing the fact that the feminine's in this vibration and almost feeling a little bit of frustration with one's own self that you couldn't give this to feminine in a way that would make them feel like this is hyper romantic or hyper sweet. It's feeling much more something that is being practically offered. So this is almost the masculine energy coming into partnership right now, almost kind of aligning in terms of the fact that it's feeling more like something that was it's navigating the fact that something became more of a practical hurdle instead of moving in a way or state of a feminine feeling like it was done directly for their benefit, right? Masculine and feminine that are working right now, that are in separation. This is the feminine effectively. Again, what did we say about a lot of the feminine energy being in a modality right now? Where it's hard because we see that the feminine is, while they're in a moment or space right now where they're leaving themselves open to new opportunities, to new offers, to being able to come into that state or space. It's not the fact that the feminine's really feeling extremely open to doing so. This isn't a feminine energy that's feeling extremely amorous right now. Why? Because we're seeing that the feminine energy has been going through this process of healing to a certain extent. It's almost like trying to find the peace right now, moving away from some situations or circumstances is, as we said, to a certain extent, almost making the feminine energy need to occupy a state or space right now where they need to effectively feel like they have to dial it in to a certain extent. The feminine energy in separation right now is effectively kind of moving forward, and they may be feeling a little bit of disassociation because this isn't a feminine energy that's feeling very amorously open at this time. Rather, they're really trying to focus on the energy that feels like it is going to come through as stable and peaceful before the feminine energy feels that ability to open up amorously to it. Now, masculine energy that is in separation right now, this is effectively potentially recognizing this on the part of whatever energy that you're trying to bring your offer to right now. Again, this is either masculine energy in separation right now that is effectively trying to move towards either new manifestations of feminine at this time, Or this was a masculine energy that was focusing very hard, decided that they wanted to bring this offer, this understanding of what they needed to fix within themselves right now to another feminine. This may even be some of that energy from the past that we were recognizing that they wanted to be able to heal or fix something on. This is a moment that is going to feel very difficult for the masculine in separation, because this is an observation of just how much difficulty has happened between here or there. Why? Because this isn't a feminine that has been waiting. If this is an old energy and you've been paying attention, this is not a feminine energy that has been waiting with bated breath for this masculine to come back. This is feminine energy that has been basically utilizing this as something that they've been healing from. So this is almost a moment right now for masculine, and potentially having a bit of rude awakening that's happening right now, because you're potentially recognizing and you're trying to come forward to a feminine right now with something that feels solid, and recognizing and identifying and understanding to a certain extent that it's not going to be that easy. That you effectively coming towards a feminine right now and articulating and amplifying that you understand what you need to change isn't necessarily what the feminine wants right now. This is almost the masculine. This is almost the feminine being like, that's great. That's good for you. It doesn't mean that I'm going to open myself back up to you, is what we're almost seeing the feminine doing at this time. For the other part of the masculine collective in separation right now, this is you going towards new feminine energy and seeing the fact that that energy is potentially not very, feeling in a very romantic mood right now. Masculine going towards new feminine might recognize that the vibration of feminine is one of being like really trying to navigate trying to understand and identify what it is that you're actually seeking before being open to you. This is really a feminine that's being very practical to a certain extent and almost saying like, tell me what you want and I'll tell you whether I'm interested. It's feeling very practical today. Masculine and feminine continuing to get clarity on these cards, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Communication today, little bit spotty today. Little bit spotty, right? And you know why? Why is that? Because masculine to a certain extent is like, and I need to stress for the energy, and it's not going to be so bad for the energy in partnership. For the energy in separation, we're almost seeing like a little bit of crestfallen here. Because this is almost coming through right now as like masculine, feeling like there's a moment that they're coming to feminine and being like, congratulations, I am bringing this offer to you. And feminine being like, I don't care. Like literally being like masculine, be like, here I am. Here's this thing that you've been asking me for. And if feminine is in separation right now, it's feminine literally being like, and I don't give a darn that you're bringing it here. You can walk in the other direction. Why? Because feminine's been working on healing. Feminine's got their hackles raised right now. They're really worried about energy that's trying to bring chaos into a situation. Some of this energy right now, I just need to stress, some of this energy right now, I just explained it to you, just came out of a situation of a masculine that basically did the same thing. That basically came to them and was like, I'm ready for this. And feminine was like, that's great. And they were like, I'm going to destroy everything in this shop. And then I'm going to walk it out the other door because I'm not actually ready. And feminine's being like, I was a fool for letting that person in. So what's happening right now? Feminine is like looking towards new masculines that are coming forward right now. And they're like, here's my offer. And she's like, feminine's going like, absolutely not. I don't care. I don't trust you. You're not coming in yet, right? Like this is feminine being like very reticent to any of the offers that are coming in. But I hope that this explains to the masculine why that might be. Like this is a feminine that's like literally sweeping the shop of all like the porcelain on the ground that the last person did. And someone's walking in and being like, I would like to buy everything in this shop. And the feminine's almost like, get out, like just leave. Okay. So the feminine and masculine may be hitting a little bit of this like bump right now as it relates to it, because feminine is literally like, you better come here, you better tell me what you want, and you better not make anything complicated. This is literally feminine being like, yes, you can come in. Yes, I'm open. Yes, I'm open. Literally feminine, like in the shop of the feminine being like, yes, we're open, but only if you're actually here to like Only if you're serious in buying something and you're not going to mess anything up while you're in here. This is literally that energy that we're seeing here right now about the feminine almost saying energetically to the masculine as it relates to new like offers and opportunities. This is why the feminine is holding in that hesitancy zone, okay? Masculine, you could be seeing this right now, but it could be coming through as much more confusing for you. Again, if this is new feminine energy right now, you could be feeling very confused because, again, you might be asking yourself, like, if this energy is saying that they're open to love offers, why are they standoffish? This is why. If this is old energy that masculine is trying to move towards right now with this offer, it is simply because, especially if there's been distance, this has not been a feminine that's been waiting for the masculine to come back to them. This is a feminine that affirmed to them that the masculine energy that went away proved that they did not care about them because they didn't communicate. This is almost masculine trying to come towards feminine right now and being like, I know how to fix this. And feminine almost saying, no, you didn't. No, you don't. Because if you knew how to fix it, your first thing that you would be doing is explaining why you haven't been communicating. Feminine's like, I don't think you understand. I haven't been asking you or waiting for anything from you. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to communicate. Feminine's like, there's nothing between us right now. If you can't give clarity on why there hasn't been communication. But masculine's like, but I want to offer you this. And feminine's going, I don't care what you want. I wanted communication. Feminine's been healing in the period of distance, not waiting for an offer. Masculine and feminine coming into partnership right now. This is that moment that, again, in moving into partnership, we are seeing that while there has been that moment of the work being done, we're seeing that this is almost leading right now to a bit of calmer water, potentially not a lot of activity in the energy that's either moving into partnership right now or that's in partnership. Why? Feminine is navigating their own circumstances or situations. Feminine's going through a lot of internal cycling right now as it relates to how they're feeling about their own selves at this time. Feminine is not necessarily feeling in a space or place to communicate how they're feeling right now. Interestingly, feminine energy is effectively like, this is the feminine energy in divine union right now, like phoning it in to a certain extent. Because why? Well, we just identified feminine recognizing that this is just almost like a wave they have to ride until they feel like things are back on an even keel. So feminine may be feeling right now some points right now of frustration or difficulty, but they're actually not communicating a lot on it right now. Masculine, this may be feeling a little difficult for you to experience. You may be recognizing this in the feminine and just doing everything you can to support them in this way. But it's making it challenging because there are some communication blockages right now. Continuing to get clarification, fifth card in our 5-card spread before we get clarification is, what did I say about communication hurdles today? We had like this little brief window of communication happening yesterday. We're right back to where we were 2 days ago. Communication hurdles are back. They're back. Okay, it's fine. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. It's not necessarily it's not as much of a big deal in the partnership. This is more of a feminine energy. Remember, actually, you know what we're also seeing here? We're also seeing the fact that one of the things, what did we see was happening right now? Oh, sorry, okay, thank you. Okay, I know what this is. Okay. So this is what this is. All right. So for the energy that is in partnership right now. Okay, thank you. For the energy that's in partnership, what was the conversation that was happening yesterday? Masculine said to feminine, right? Masculine said to feminine effectively that the problem with the feminine, what was the problem with the feminine energy yesterday? The problem with the feminine energy was effectively a moment wherein the masculine said, feminine, I only see one thing that is a problem with you. Feminine, your problem is that you doubt yourself and you Invest yourself in something. Masculine was trying to point out to the feminine yesterday in partnership that the reason that the feminine energy was doubting their own ability is because they were over invested in things that were not returning back to them the way that they should. Masculine even said, I want you to be in a space or place where you have time to enjoy yourself, that you're not overworked for the sake of the partnership itself. This is the feminine energy following the masculine energy's advice in partnership. If you have been in a long-term partnership, this is feminine potentially saying and feeling that anxiety of doing what the masculine suggested they do, which is, again, pulling back on some obligations right now, pulling back on some plans. Feminine feels awful doing it. Feminine is almost like trying to delay doing this, knowing that they have to do it, recognizing that this is almost something that's going to bring them peace, but they feel bad about doing it because feminine doesn't want to be in a space or place where it feels like they're pulling back on what they can give. But feminine's almost recognizing that they need to a certain extent, in order to concentrate on the partnership. Now, for the energy, feminine energy moving into partnership right now. Feminine energy moving into partnership right now. This, what we're seeing here, this is you doing what you just asked the masculine to do. This is you doing what you asked the masculine to do. Because what we saw here, this is a feminine that we are effectively seeing, as we saw over the last few days, okay? We saw the fact that the feminine energy was feeling cynical as to whether the masculine would effectively go forward, do these difficult things to come into partnership, lay some points of disappointment at the feet around some other energy as they moved into divine union. Feminine was reserving their judgment and feeling rather cynical that the masculine could do it. Feminine is seeing the fact that the masculine did it. Feminine is seeing validation that this is something that can move into a divine partnership situation. So what is the feminine doing now? Now feminine is doing it. Now feminine is closing up any cycles right now that they feel isn't leading them into divine union. Feminine is now doing the thing that they asked the masculine to do, but we're waiting on doing because they were waiting to see if the masculine would show this ability and degree to do it for themselves. This is the feminine now seeing that and taking this moment to also let energy know that they are moving into divine union right now, if that is what is happening. So again, a lot of energy right now of people who are effectively getting that point of closure. Those wrapping up moments right now, as feminine is now doing the work that they asked the masculine to do, feeling that there is this point of confirmation that they've received, that something can proceed forward on that divine union pathway. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation right now, this is the feminine energy effectively just conceding to themselves and saying, I am only available to energy that is showing me that they actually have something that they want to offer me. This is feminine energy being like, someone telling me what they want should not feel like a game of pulling teeth. It should just be an energy that comes forward with a real, practical, legitimate offer. Something that is transparent, something that can be observed. Feminine is effectively saying, I am only looking for the energy that can articulate on this offer. And anything right now, remember what I said with feminine, literally going like this, clearing those hands, washing those hands, saying, everything's got to go. This is a fire sale. Just get it out of my house. This is feminine energy doing that, like purging post-eclipse, saying anything right now that isn't completely what it is, if something isn't showing clearly what it is, it's got to go. It's got to go. Feminine is closing up things right now. Feminine's reached a breaking point. They're like, if it is not on the surface, if there's something I don't understand, if there's something strange here, if you don't want to explain it to me, you're out. You're done. Gone. Doesn't make any sense. Feminine's like, I'm not here for it. Be open, be honest, be expressive, or be gone is what we're seeing is happening right now with the feminine collective. Masculine in separation right now. This is going to feel really heavy. This is going to feel very, very heavy for the masculine that's in separation at this time. All right? Because what we are effectively seeing is this is a masculine that's almost being like, this is wonderful. I've just gone through this cycle. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I know what I want right now. I know what I want. I'm going to bring it to feminine. And this is masculine coming forward to feminine right now. Either, again, new feminine energy being like, I know what I want. Or this is masculine energy going to an old energy and being like, guess what? I'm back. I know what I want. And in both iterations, we are seeing feminine holding high, like almost being almost non-communicative. Being very, it's going to come over through very sharp, very, 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 very tight mouth, very close lip, very, very resistant. And being like, do you? What do you want? What are you looking for? What have you been doing? Where were you last? When was your last relationship? It's almost a feminine energy that is like showing like no sign of like romance, no sign of like, this is feminine being like, I need to see what this is. You don't get this is the feminine literally being like, I'm not leading with the romance anymore. You don't get the romantic side. You ever seen Lysistrata? This is feeling like Lysistrata. This is feminine being like, you don't get the romantic side until like I see what you're actually looking for. This is almost a feminine being like, oh no, I can be super romantic. I can be like the most romantic. You have no idea how romantic I can be. But first, why are you here? What do you want? So for new energy, this is feminine being like almost perfunctory in a lot of the correspondence and communication, not really being very open or verbose, not leading in any way, shape, or form, just kind of seeing what is being offered and then kind of taking it and really like looking to make sure that it feels like it's real. Or like pragmatic to a fault. Or this is coming through, if this is old energy coming back to a feminine right now, that's being like, ba ba ba. Congratulations, I've decided that I want to be with you. This is a feminine being like, congratulations. No. Like, this is a feminine energy being like, are you kidding? Yeah, you have to explain yourself. What do you want? Why are you here? And why did it take so long? This is a feminine being like, no, this is not an arms wide open. This is not like the arms wide open song. This is like an enemy at the gates. This is not like that Arms Wide Open song. This is like the scene from like Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they're trying to get in the castle. This is feminine being like, we already have one. No, they're not here. You got to go somewhere else. Masculine's being like, no, I want to go in there. And they're like, no, I know. You have to explain what took so long. Like, absolutely. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 5 of Wands in its reversal and our Ace of Pentacles. May I please have one card to clarify? Use your transformation. All right, so the last message is where the healing was going to come. The healing was coming no matter where you were. Now it's like the transformation's coming no matter where you are. For masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership or moving through partnership. Again, it's not going to feel as rough. It's not going to feel as rough because it's going to feel a little bit more like outside in. What's happening right now in the partnerships? There are adjustments that are being made to obligations to allow for easement going forward. This is like practical concerns. This is an over-exhausted feminine. This is an overwhelmed feminine. Masculines help guide them to streamline things, to make things easier. Hence the transformation. Partnership, energy just moving into partnership right now. This is everybody. Now it's feminine. Feminine didn't say this to masculine. I see you, feminine energy, coming into partnership. You didn't say a darn thing to masculine about any of this, but now you're doing it, so we appreciate that. What we're seeing right now, again, for the masculine and feminine energy that is coming into partnership, this is feminine now saying, this is like a little bit of monkey see, monkey do. This is feminine being like, oh, they surprised me. They're actually willing to do this. They're actually showing me that they are doing the things that I need them to do to move into divine union and divine partnership. This is feminine being like, and I will too. I've seen them do it. Now I'm going to do it. This is the feminine is like happy to do it, glad to do it. It's going to be hard. Feminine's recognizing that they kind of have to do the hard thing too, but feminine's now doing it because they just observed masculine doing it. And that's them effectively also moving forward to commit into the partnership. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. This is the moment of that transformation. Because again, this is a feminine energy that is changing their way that they engage with masculine energy. This is feminine energy basically saying, I'm not fighting for anyone's attention anymore. The energy either wants me in it or they don't. This is the feminine saying, like almost coming into a space or place of being much more practical on things and being like, this is going to come through as a lot of pragmatism on the side of a feminine if it's new energy that they're talking to right now, being like, look, I'm just going to give you the rundown. This is what happened to me. This is where I am. This is what I'm looking for. Do you want this or do you not? Like, and this is masculine effectively seeing this on the side of feminine and being like, potentially even feeling like, I was just going to ask if you wanted to go see a movie. Like, almost like that. And feminine being like, I'm not looking for this. Are you involved? Do you have anybody else? What's going on? And masculine being like, maybe we can start with dinner. Like, it's almost like a bit of that energy here right now. Because again, feminine is almost moving through a state or space right now where they're effectively changing. Feminine's evolving, feminine's adapting, allowing a lot of the karmic lessons to effectively change things. And feminine almost being like, look, you know, this is the end of some cycles. I'm looking for these new opportunities. I'm looking for what is creating a sense of easement. This is a feminine who, again, they're doing it in a moment where it's not easy, but feminine's recognizing that this is almost in a way showing how far that they've come. Because this is a feminine that's almost already are seeing how what has happened in the past has impacted their current experience. Masculine energy right now that is in separation, this is going to feel a little bit strange to you because what we're seeing again is masculine is also going through a point of transformation. Masculine in separation is also coming into a space or place where they have a deeper understanding in terms of what it is that they truly want. So the benefit that we are seeing here, at least for the energy right now, that is in masculine, that is in separation, that is moving to new partnership possibilities. This is a moment that almost makes it feel easier because you almost recognize now, understand what it is that the feminine energy is seeking from you. Because you yourself have recognized and understood it within the self right now. So you're potentially coming forward and being much more open about what you want in a way that you may not have done before, because you're recognizing that that is the journey of you yourself coming into a state of deeper understanding of the self in terms of really identifying and articulating to the feminine that you're moving towards what it is that you're actually seeking right now. Masculine energy right now that is potentially trying to go back to past energy. This is going to feel like a much more difficult moment, because this is almost having a moment of bringing something towards an energy from the past and seeing how much has changed, observing how much has changed, because there may even be a moment right now if you're trying to go back to some past energy and being like having a point of observation and saying, oh, they're not responding in the same way that they did. This isn't the same energy that I was holding on to with some point of nostalgia here. This is an energy, like I said, this is almost a point of masculine realizing that in the time and space in between, this isn't a feminine energy that like went into a point of stasis. This is a feminine energy that has been transforming that entire time. This is almost like recognizing that, again, the person that you find is not the person that you left behind. This is not an energy that has been waiting in any capacity. A lot has been changing around this energy. And it's almost that point of observation in terms of looking at something and saying, does this energy still want something, given the fact that I see all of these transformations that have occurred between us at this time? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ace of Pentacles and the Empress in its reversal. And this is going to feel like a bit of uncertainty for masculine energy that's going back to old feminine right now, because now it's almost a point of being like, I know what they used to want, but I don't know what they want now. May I please have one card to clarify? What does feminine want? That's the funny thing. What we're actually seeing here is that feminine is almost instead amplifying exactly what they want, which is almost feminine saying, what I want is what I want. This is the feminine saying, what I want is what I've always wanted. And what the important thing that we're seeing that's happening right now for the feminine, especially if this is old energy that is trying to come back to feminine, is the fact that there's almost an articulation point that needs to be deciphered between what the masculine is trying to offer the feminine right now versus what it is the feminine really wants. And what could be happening right now is a masculine trying to come towards feminine and be like, hey, I miss you. I haven't stopped thinking about you. I miss what we had. I would like to do this. I would like to offer you this. I'm ready now. And feminine saying, no, you're not. Because this is almost the feminine having to say to the masculine, I'll tell you, feminine is almost saying, you know what I miss? I want my manifestation goal. I want to be in partnership with someone who is consistent, who doesn't leave when things get hard, who is able to create what feels like a stable environment for me. And what we're effectively seeing that's happening right now with the feminine articulating to the masculine is a part of the feminine saying, you're offering me something that feels tangible. You're offering me your time, your effort and energy now. I'm looking for someone that wants the same things I do down the line. I want someone who actually wants a long-term future with me. And this is why we see that the feminine is being so hesitant, especially with old energy returning right now. Because this is the feminine energy saying, the way you left me feeling, the way you're finding me now, does not leave me inclined to just open up and go back on that path to a long-term happy future with you. This is the feminine that almost has to articulate to the masculine being like, I am hurt. I'm in pain. You hurt me. You need to heal this before there could be any possibility of there being that long-term future, because you've already created such a level of damage in how I'm feeling about myself. This is almost a feminine having to articulate to masculine, trying to come towards him in this way, being like, I've been in a point of recovery from how you left me feeling. And now you're telling me that all of those things you made me feel are the opposite to this. Now you're coming back and saying that you want all these things from me. Are you going to amplify whether you can actually care about me in the process? Because there's now a differentiation between what the feminine is ideally seeing as the long-term future versus the masculine. And this is because the feminine's almost saying, again, it's great that you want those things now, but much like before, you're not asking me what I want. You're not asking what I desire. This is almost the feminine recognizing and realizing the masculine needs to be able to come into this space. But again, feeling a lot of that hesitancy, especially if someone's offering something and almost trying to wash everything under the bridge as it relates to what's happened before. This is the feminine saying we can't just move back into something and pretend something didn't happen. You need to take some accountability for how you left me and what this time is and what this space is. For energy of feminine that just went into separation, that was just closing these cycles, what we're effectively seeing here is this is a moment of feminine literally only allowing masculine energy in right now, bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. In terms of masculine energy that is able to articulate not only what they're offering in the present, but what they are ideally aspiring for in the long term. This is feminine energy really just cutting to the chase right now with any new energy that's approaching them and saying, unless you tell me this first, we get this part out of the way first. You tell me you want these things first before I start opening up to you romantically. Because this is a feminine energy that feels like they just are recovering from situations or circumstances where they assumed that the energy wanted the same thing that they did and came to the shocking realization that that was not the case. Now, masculine energy that is in separation, this is effectively that moment that you are realizing that while, again, this is either a masculine that is going towards new manifestations of feminine, and this is, again, either being able, with the new manifestations of feminine, offering these things, seeing the feminine asking for these things, and potentially even realizing and being like, yeah, I know I got to give them this. I understand why. I'm just leaving a situation or circumstance where I get it. This is, again, almost a masculine. You're seeing the feminine in this vibration, but you kind of know why. You're picking up or understanding why this feminine might be in that modality because of what you've learned up until this point. Okay? And for masculine right now, this is almost a point that says, I know that I need to prove to you that I'm not going to hurt you, that I'm just not here for something short, that I'm actually here because I'm trying to create something long. I'm going to do everything I can to try to do so. And almost recognizing and saying, like, I get it. I understand your own hesitancy right now. Masculine energy right now that's trying to go back towards an old manifestation of feminine, potentially someone who was your heart's desire or is your heart's desire. This is going to feel like a bit of an impossible situation right now because, again, it's not about the fact that you aren't recognized and committed to what you care about. It's almost understanding and seeing the fact that that energy is very much in a state or space where it's like they're not opening up their arms to you right now because they're still so emotionally hurt with what happened before. This is almost like a point of observation and recognizing to a certain extent and seeing like they've changed and they've healed, but they haven't forgotten. This isn't water under the bridge. There's something that needs to be taken accounted for because masculine's realizing that this was a feminine that was being hurt given the time. That the time between did not mend anything. It almost built more frustration. It built more anger. It built resentment. And this is almost a masculine saying like, potentially almost trying to articulate and amplify and almost try to say to the feminine, oh, I always intended to come back. Like, I always intended to come back. And this is the feminine saying, you didn't tell me that. Nothing you said that was going to happen. And this could be a point that, again, nothing can go forward right now unless there's an explanation on what's been happening in the time intervening. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is working in partnership or coming into partnership, this is not so much of a difficulty. This is feminine right now doing, again, in partnership, doing the work that they need to do, removing themselves romantically from some outside situations and circumstances so that they can focus on building this manifestation with this energy right now, potentially disappointing some energy in the process. Or masculine right now, this is a moment that, again, you're potentially seeing this. Masculine, you're seeing the fact that the feminine right now, and I think that for masculine right now that's trying to come into partnership with feminine, there is something about the feminine right now feeling a little closed off today romantically. You know what I mean? But that's almost because like feminine is almost like getting into the space of like, you know, getting down to business on things, like really focusing on the practicals around partnership right now, because there is a sense right now of the feminine. You know, you could even be seeing that the feminine is doing this right now in some way, shape, or form. Now, masculine and feminine that are already in partnership right now, this is effectively that moment of feminine again. This is almost the masculine saying to the feminine, listen, you know, it's okay. Like feminine saying, I feel bad removing myself from some things, even though I'm feeling overwhelmed. And this is masculine saying to a certain extent, it's okay. All you have to do is articulate the fact that you are overwhelmed, that you're spread out too thin, that you need to consolidate your own energy right now. This is almost a masculine, again, giving the feminine energy more support in this to help them as they determine how to go forward from this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Empress in its reversal in combination with our Two of Wands in its reversal. So, feminine today, all of the feminine energy right now feeling a little bit cagey, especially as it relates to like their own feelings of like passion, their own feelings of like emotionality, like, but feminine is almost trying to navigate this right now because feminine's trying to make sure that they don't like, you know, implement that in the wrong way is what I'm really seeing. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through. This is exactly why the feminine's doing this right now. The feminine energy is trying to make sure that they're communicating in a way that feels as balanced as possible. It's really coming through like feminine is like having a little bit of quiet right now as they navigate their feelings to try to help articulate exactly how they're feeling. Because again, this is feminine like clearing out some cycles right now and feeling the weight of like needing to communicate on how they're feeling. But again, wanting to kind of let things down easy, wanting to try to like not allow themselves to be like overly emotional or letting that like play out in an unhealthy way is almost the feminine trying to like internally recalibrate themselves so that they find the way to communicate something in an objectively emotionally balanced way possible. This is really a feminine that's like working through their own personal communication hurdles around some things right now that are not making them feel that great so that they can communicate it in a way that feels balanced. And again, for the energy and partnership right now, this is potentially feminine energy that's really trying to find a way to express some of those spaces and places that they have to withdraw their own obligations from. This is that feminine energy is being like, I'm too overwhelmed. I don't want to communicate from a point of overwhelm. I want to find a way that's going to like clarify and articulate that as well as possible. For the masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into partnership, this is feminine doing the same thing right now as it relates to potentially any outside energies. Much like the masculine energy had to get into a space or place of disappointing some energy right now, feminine is also feeling to a certain extent that now they're in the role in partnership or coming into partnership that they need to disappoint some energy. And they're also trying to figure out a very emotionally balanced way to do so. Masculine and feminine energy that is in separation right now, this is the feminine energy that is not letting their heart guide them. What could be feeling so difficult right now, especially if feminine energy is dealing with some energy from the past that's coming towards them at this time, is that feminine is experiencing a profound amount of hesitancy in letting that energy back in. Because feminine energy is effectively fighting against the heart space and the head space, where their heart, like, you know, feeling the emotional roller coaster potentially of someone coming back towards them that had them in a difficult place, like from their heart space, still feeling a lot of that, but trying to like navigate it from a state or space of emotional balance right now is so hard. And it's almost like creating a space that like feels like impossible to articulate, because it's almost like the feminine being like, I don't want to like emotionally open up an argument. But for the feminine, it almost feels like this is an argument that was left unfinished. Like someone's coming back and they're expecting the feminine to be very balanced when like the last place they left something was in the middle of like a heated battle or a heated, something that was feeling much more heated and emotionally difficult. And what's important about this, and this is why the feminine, especially if there's old energy returning to the feminine right now, why the feminine is so hesitant, because this is effectively a feminine energy that's looking at that energy and saying, did you come back here just to upset me? Did you come back just to see if I am still emotionally attached to you like that? This is the feminine energy that's like, again, it's not the fact that an opportunity is coming back. It's that the feminine energy does not trust the intentions of that energy coming back, because it's like, you hurt me. This is the feminine saying, you hurt me. You stopped communicating. You hurt me. And now you're just communicating again, acting like nothing went wrong. And this is the feminine almost like having to feel like they need to fake a level or degree of emotional balance to like downplay all of the very, very difficult energy that is surrounding something under the surface. If this is an old energy coming back, because it's almost looking at them and saying, why are you back here? And that hesitation is like, that calmness is like a calmness that's trying to hold back a lot of that emotional pain of someone returning and being like, I don't know why you're back here, because the last time I saw you, you hurt me profoundly. Feminine, masculine energy that's moving towards feminine, and for new feminine energy that is moving into new partnerships right now, this is also, again, navigating a space or place where you're trying to be very emotionally balanced, but you're recognizing that there's still a lot of hurt that you're navigating here. You know, this is almost the feminine energy realizing that in a way they can walk and chew gum as it relates to like allowing new energy in, allowing new possibilities to arrive, while also carrying the weight of their grief under the surface in the process. Now, masculine energy right now that is moving in separation. This is that point that we are identifying and seeing that, again, you're potentially seeing this with some of the feminine energy that you're moving towards right now. This is new feminine energy that you are trying to build, possibilities with right now. You can see the fact that it's not the fact that this feminine energy, this feminine energy is working very hard on maintaining a level or degree of emotional balance. And it's almost like you can almost see under the surface what they're not communicating, the emotional pain that they're still carrying. But what's nice about the masculine energy that's encountering this with new feminine energy is almost like that quiet understanding of what's effectively happening under the surface right now, and almost having like a point of being like, we'll talk about that when the feminine's ready to talk about that. That's not something that needs to be brought up here, but it's almost the masculine recognizing that some of that hesitancy of this feminine, some of that energy that they're having is specifically coming from a feminine that is working through a healing process, that's finding emotional balance through a point of a lot of hurt, or a lot of those like emotional lessons that they're carrying. Masculine, you may even be appreciating, respecting that, because you can almost see it under the surface, but you're almost recognizing that it's not affecting the feminine. Now, masculine energy that's trying to come back towards a feminine from the past right now in separation. This is that moment that you're effectively observing that. This is confirmation. It's almost like the more I'm getting here, it's like the more level that the energy is. What's interesting right now for the masculine is like the more level that this energy is, the more masculine's like, oh, they're still hurt. Oh, they're like hurt. Because it almost feels like the energy's being like remarkably calm, like almost like overly calm is almost like masculine energy being like, yeah, they're still really upset. They don't even need to talk about it. It's almost like whatever the feminine's like, nice weather we're having, and masculine's like, I'm in danger. This person is still really upset at me. Like, it's almost like what we're seeing to a certain extent. Like the person is being so like calm that masculine can almost feel like the storm underneath the calm here, right? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between the 2 of Swords in its reversal in combination with like the 8 of Swords. The 8 of Wands. The 2 of Wands in its reversal and the 8 of Wands. It's funny I said Swords in its reversal. May I please have, as the card tumbles onto the floor and it's transverse. Everybody guys, why is everybody poking the abandonment wounds today? Why is everybody poking the abandonment wounds? All right, so what are we seeing here? So we're seeing right now for masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership or working through partnership or working towards partnership right now. What we're really identifying is this like moment or situation or circumstance wherein we are identifying the fact that masculine and feminine energy. There's just some situations or circumstances that we're really kind of seeing to a certain level or degree that like require some accommodation. They require some adjustment. These are practical communication issues. They might not necessarily be even related to inside the partnership itself. This is masculine or feminine. Again, feminine's been going through a point of overwhelm. Feminine may have to like pull back on some plans right now. There could be a moment right now of feeling like someone is overextended, conserving of the resources, pulling these things back in. Masculine and feminine are almost doing this together in some capacity. And feminine and masculine are supporting each other in doing so. This is almost this moment right now that like what we're effectively seeing is the fact that in partnership right now, there's just this moment of trying to articulate and amplify the fact that something, and I'm almost getting here that something that needs to be like amplified around some of these circumstances or situations is it's not necessarily like withdrawing from something entirely. It's almost trying to like have to put some things on hold right now for the sake of other things, right? Masculine and feminine trying to work in partnership or coming into partnership right now. This is the mutual energy. This is the mutual energy right now that is happening around both of them now, because now masculine and feminine are effectively in alignment in what the work that they're doing here, in trying to let people down easy, in not necessarily trying to trigger someone as you effectively have to make some a point of accommodation, but really trying to amplify that this isn't about them, it's about the person, like what the person needs to do. And masculine and feminine right now, you may be both feeling like you're doing this work together, letting people know where you are effectively, and almost like trying to let people down easy in the process. That's what all the energy right now is doing right now in partnership. Again, the energy coming into partnership and the energy in partnership are basically doing the same work. Now, masculine and feminine that are in separation, this is masculine right now. If this is new energy that masculine's trying to go towards right now, this is almost that point of recognition right now that we are identifying, that we are seeing that the masculine energy is potentially recognizing and identifying the reticence on why the feminine may be proceeding from such a state or place of caution right now. This is effectively a feminine energy that, again, is healing abandonment wounds. They're working through some triggers. Masculine is also working through some triggers because masculine is also feeling the weight of having walked away from someone potentially recently that they know or they feel like they had to do this with. It's this point of recognizing that they had to effectively walk away from something that they didn't necessarily feel their heart was in. Feminine energy is going through the opposite of that right now, of again, feeling like they had to walk away from someone because it wasn't in their best interest to stay. So in that way, even with the new energy right now, there is a feeling of, again, being able to know what the other one needs, which we appreciate seeing. Both energies are effectively reflecting each other from the other side. And that is a positive. That's going to help right now for energy that's new, that's working on partnership. Masculine and feminine, that is, if this is energy that's trying to go back to circumstances or situations right now, we are effectively seeing that this is a moment that, again, the masculine is trying to navigate the fact that there is a point of observation that's coming through in the point of seeing whether someone is going to let you come back in. This is a moment right now of masculine feeling the weight if they're going back to some circumstances or situations right now, in effectively identifying and realizing and seeing to a certain extent that there is no way to go back to those past situations or circumstances without giving some clarification on where you went. This is the abandonment wound that needs to be navigated. There's no access point here until this is worked through. Feminine is almost this is basically doing that as well. This is feminine basically saying right now, not letting you in unless you can clarify where you've been in that time period. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Death card in combination with our 10 of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? clarification coming through right now with our 7 of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now. This is, again, what did we say was the major lesson that was happening for the energy and partnership right now? Thank you so much for the gift. We are effectively seeing, to a large extent, the fact that we are recognizing that for masculine and feminine in partnership right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, there is an observational point right now in simply having to say, we don't have time to do everything. We can't do everything. Our time is precious. It's valuable. We need to concentrate on enjoying our time together. This is requiring some changes in terms of where we are concentrating our energy. This is more just feeling like a lot of practical attention on how to become more efficient and to consolidate your resources. It's requiring you effectively to have to pull out of some things that you're not necessarily seeing the results from right now. You know, there's almost this point. It's going to feel like a point of like, it's like the best worst problem. We've got a lot to do. It's picking what we need to do first. That is the challenge right now for the partnered energies. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is coming into partnership right now, this is letting people go. This is letting energy be disappointed. This is modifying some things right now because, again, the transformation that's required for the long-term future manifestation of something that is requiring you to like consolidate the energy. The energy's in the same pathway. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is the feminine effectively, again, focusing on their long-term manifestation goal. In a way, this is a feminine that is basically saying, and this is almost what the feminine is saying in separation to masculine right now. I've changed a lot, but in another way, I haven't changed at all. I've changed a lot, I haven't changed at all. Feminine is almost saying to masculine, I've never changed. I've always wanted the same thing. I've always desired that long-term future goal. I'm just not wasting my time in spaces and places that does not align to this anymore. That's the feminine saying, like, I am very focused on what I'm trying to create for myself. But feminine is almost saying to masculine, I'm not letting that. You are not the arbitrator of my manifestation goal. You're either in alignment with me on it or you're not. You're either with me or you're working against it. And this is basically the feminine saying right now, both to, again, new masculine energy that's approaching them right now, or masculine energy from the past, saying, feminine is leading right now and saying, this is what I want. Are you with me or are you against me here? This is what I'm trying to create. Are you with me or are you against me? Are you going to come with, like, it's almost like feminine getting pragmatic to a fault and basically saying, do you want this or do you not? If you don't, if you're going to be oppositional, if you're going to like play all these games, then please go somewhere else, because this is what I'm trying to create right now. Masculine and masculine energy that is coming towards the feminine right now. This is why you're feeling such an active resistance if there's been past situations with you there, because this is the feminine saying, I've want what I've always wanted. You have stood in the way of that. You have created problems. You've made me have to transform and change things in terms of like reconciling what I'm trying to move towards right now. And this is a feminine saying, are you here because you want this, or are you here to waste more of my time? That's effectively what the feminine is saying to masculine right now. Are you actually here because you want this? Because if not, you're just wasting my time. Masculine in separation right now, your job, if you're trying to come into partnership with feminine right now, is effectively feeling twofold if this is an old energy you're trying to connect with. Because it's more than anything having to convince that energy and say, no, I really want it. I understand what you're trying to create. I recognize that I wasted your time. And this is almost requiring, though, the only way to get here is to have to explain what you've been doing in the interim, what you've been doing in the intervening time that has led to this transformation. Because feminine's literally like, I don't care if you're back. I need to see that you transformed. Masculine, in the old energy, you recognize that that's almost like the only way you're going to be able to move towards this right now. While for masculine energy that's moving towards new manifestations of feminine, this is potentially going to feel like a little bit of an alignment, because this is a moment that you might be saying, I want that too. I want it too. Trust me, I want it too. You might be a little reticent on what it's taken to get there, but you're like, I want that too, trust me. And you're also recognizing now it's almost a point of convincing the feminine that you yourself are focused on that, are really wanting that, and you're not going to waste the feminine's time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 10 of Cups in combination with our Queen of Cups. We love seeing these two cards together. We love it. One card, please. Decisions. Feminine is like, I am done. This is a feminine energy that is no longer taking a wait or see approach as it relates to partnership right now. This is not a feminine energy being like, whatever you want to do, I'm just here I'm along for the ride. This is feminine being like, I am not along for the ride. I know exactly what I want. Feminine's like, I want that long-term manifestation goal that I'm working on right now. And feminine energy right now in every iteration is coming into alignment in that. Feminine in partnership is effectively feeling like they're willing to take the steps necessary to be able to concentrate on building that long-term manifestation goal by recognizing that they need to be in a state where they are emotionally balanced to do so. This is feminine energy, again, withdrawing or making some choices today to be able to allow themselves to come into alignment with what they're trying to create for themselves at this time. Masculine, you may be supporting an energy that's doing this. This is feminine and masculine, like giving feminine a pat on the back saying, anything that you need to do to stay emotionally balanced, I am here for. I've got you. We've got this. You're doing this for us. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for us. Masculine and feminine that are trying to come into partnership, this is feminine doing the same hard thing that they just saw the masculine do. Monkey see, monkey do. This is feminine energy that's like, they showed me they could do it. I'm now willing to do it. Feminine's now letting people down so that they can focus, consolidate their energy towards what they're trying to create at this time. Masculine and feminine in separation. This is a feminine energy. Again, looking towards masculine, not necessarily saying, this isn't about how I feel about you. This is feminine being like, it's not whether I missed you. It's not whether I want you. This could even be a masculine being like, didn't you miss me? Didn't you want me? This is feminine being like, that is neither here or there. That is not what we are talking about. This is almost a feminine looking at masculine right now and saying, I am making choices right now, not based on what I feel a need for, but like what I want for, not what I feel a desire for, but what I actually need. And feminine is effectively saying, I need someone that shows consistency in terms of what it is that we're creating together, that will articulate, amplify, build towards that long-term manifestation goal. And I am being very composed about it. I'm keeping my composure in the process. That is the decision feminine's making, which is why the feminine is looking at the masculine right now. If old energy is trying to come back to the feminine right now and saying, what do you want? Why are you coming back? Are you just coming back to fulfill a physical desire need? Or do you actually want something long-term? Because this is a feminine saying, to a certain extent, this is feminine feeling very committed and saying, I'm choosing that. And any energy that's coming in that isn't moving towards that is an interruption to that. Masculine, you could be seeing this either towards the new feminine energy you're moving in connection with, and again, having to affirm to them, I want that too. Or this is that masculine energy that is effectively potentially trying to move back toward an old manifestation of feminine, someone they feel like they left behind now that they recognize that they have to change. And masculine having to affirm to the feminine and saying, I want it too, I'm ready. And I've also, like again, having to articulate and amplify that they have learned a lot in the process, that they know what they want now. But the problem with the feminine is it's not going to be someone right now. Words are not going to be enough in this situation. It's really going to take a moment of someone having to put some real action to this. Because this is almost a masculine saying, like, I'm going to show you the steps I've taken to be able to come back to you. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our Queen of Cups in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its transverse. May I please have one card to clarify? We love seeing this card today. These are some beautiful cards. This is some huge transformation energy today. Masculine and feminine energy. in partnership. This is the feminine energy again. A lot of the energy today in partnership is, again, tackling some of that abandonment wound. Feminine energy is feeling the anxiety of letting others down right now. Feminine energy is feeling the weight of having to withdraw their own energy from things right now, trying to let energy down easy. But they're doing it for the sake of the partnership, for the sake of the opportunities that the partnership provides. This is, again, something of the feminine saying, like, I'm not doing this for me. This is why the feminine energy is doing this right now. It's almost a feminine feeling to a certain extent, like, I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this for, like, the new energy of what I'm continuing to, like, deepen and evolve as it relates to the partnership. Those new opportunities. This is feminine almost, again, like, pulling back so that they can pull forward, but facing their own anxiety, like, their own abandonment wounds in the process, but trying to do so in a way that they try to articulate an amplified energy, that this isn't a point of rejection, but this is more of the fact of the energy needing to kind of recall the energy so that they can move forward in a different direction. This is how the feminine's navigating this right now. It's almost trying to articulate to the energy around them right now that this is a moment of feminine not saying no to something, but saying yes to something else, right? Both in partnership right now and coming into partnership, this is what feminine's doing. And this is almost like that mutual work that we're seeing that the feminine's doing, because they saw the masculine doing a lot of that work recently as well. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is the only, for feminine energy right now, if there is old energy trying to come back, this is the only way it's coming back in. It's a feminine energy that's like, you have to show me that you recognize and see what you've done to me in the interim. You have to clarify, because there's almost a feminine energy here that's potentially trying to articulate to someone and saying, you abandoned me. You left me out in the cold. You can't come back in. We can't have anything new until you make up for that. Masculine, you're potentially seeing this if you're trying to come into separation with old energy right now, if you're trying to come back into partnership with old energy at this time. And this is a moment of masculine effectively saying, I see that I did that. I've changed. That's not going to happen anymore. But the problem with this is the feminine energy that is profoundly skeptical on that. Again, profoundly. And this is almost the feminine saying, I guess we'll have to take a wait and see attitude. We're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to wait and see. Because feminine feels to a certain extent that this energy almost lacks the capacity to do this. Right? This is almost like a barrier now in these partnerships, and being like, this is something that, like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to, like, truly forgive you for. I think it's something that you'll do again and again and again. Now, masculine trying to come towards feminine at this time, you're seeing this in the feminine. The problem is you're trying to articulate to the feminine being like, I see my own capacity for doing that. I see that in myself right now. I see that I have this ability of doing it. I am recognizing it. And it's an attempt of trying to recognize and amplify to the feminine that you have that capacity. That is effectively the point of validation in terms of trying to articulate and say, I can change something that I can see. Now, masculine and feminine that are moving into new partnership. This is almost a moment of masculine being like, feminine almost potentially articulating to the masculine what's occurred. Their hesitancy. Almost even saying to the masculine, you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little hesitant communicating with you because of X, Y, and Z. And masculine being like, I see it, I know, I appreciate it. I'm also healing from some things right now. This is that point of like mutual recognition. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Two of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Page of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. This is again a moment that is requiring some decisions to be reached. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that we are effectively seeing that there is this anxiety or fear of kind of putting oneself, spreading oneself out too thin, needing to see some things coming into fruition sooner rather than later. Feminine energy is going ahead of doing this right now. Masculine, intriguingly, is almost going through a moment of shared anxiety as well, because masculine is also potentially seeing right now a point that they themselves are also feeling a little bit spread too thin. We are seeing here that this is a bit of that mutual energy that is happening here for both masculine and feminine. This is a shared moment where, again, you're doing what you need to do, but you're feeling a little anxiety in the process. Both masculine and feminine energy are effectively trying to give each other like that point of support right now, because there's almost a point of experiencing this that, like, especially for the energy that's coming into partnership right now, there is some feelings of anxiety that are potentially coming into play, because it's almost this point of validity in feeling like, there's no going back, as it were. There's like no going back from this moment to a certain extent. And that in itself, is almost reaffirming the choice to move forward, right? Well, for masculine and feminine energy, but this is that moment that, like, again, it's that throwing caution to the wind. It's the anxiety of like really putting one's trust in another person. And it feels like a little bit of a trust fall, okay? Now for masculine and feminine that has been in partnership for some time, this is that moment of like, almost saying to the feminine, okay, this is interesting, because it's almost masculine saying to the feminine, like, it's easier once you do it. Like, again, it's almost this point of like supporting each other is what I'm really seeing here. Like masculine and feminine being like, we're doing the things that we have to do, even if they're not easy. And almost like masculine is supporting feminine in this moment, being like, I have to make hard decisions like this too. Like, you're not alone in this. I have to do this all the time. I also feel like that weight. And feminine to a certain extent, like almost utilizing that point of masculine also doing this right now as that point of like, appreciation. Because it's not the fact that this is a masculine that is, and I'm getting here, and I think that this is the important thing about this right now. This is thank you. What's coming through on this right now for the energy that's in long-term partnership is feminine saying, I'm doing this for us, and masculine saying, no, you're not doing this for us. Let's be clear. Anything that you're pulling your obligation out of right now, I want you to make sure that you understand that you're doing it for you. This is almost masculine stopping the feminine from saying that to a certain extent by saying to them, like, it's not, I will support anything that you want to do. I will also support anything that you don't want to do. What we want to avoid, what we're really seeing here is masculine trying to articulate to feminine saying, don't say that you're just doing this for me, because I don't want you to just do this for me. I want you to do this for you. That's what we're seeing here. Now, masculine and feminine that is in separation. This is that moment that, again, the problem that we're seeing here, feminine energy is moving at a point right now where they're making very, very rapid decisions. They're clearing out a lot of energy right now. This is feminine, just bang, 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 bang. If you're not showing the result, if you're not showing an ability to be consistent, if you're not showing that point of clarification, feminine's just like, I can't have it here. It's gone. It needs to go. This is feminine basically just saying, I need you to kind of be able to, like, stand here, be able to be in your power. Show me that you have that ability of consistency. Show me that you have that ability of courage. One of the reasons that feminine is taking such a sharp approach right now to the masculine is almost a bit of a strength test. This is a feminine energy that's like learning the karmic cycle sooner rather than later. And if this is a masculine that is quickly put off by the feminine putting up a boundary, A feminine that isn't necessarily just coming from like an amorous perspective. A feminine energy that is really articulating what they want and being a little resistant in opening up romantically or passionately until they get that sense of assurance. This is almost a way of the feminine saying, wanting to see if this is going to send the masculine running in the opposite direction. This is almost a feminine telling the masculine everything that they need to see if this scares the masculine off. This is almost a feminine energy that's like intentionally being rough around the edges to see if the masculine energy is brave enough to be able to like navigate things, because this is a feminine energy. What has the feminine energy learned at this time? Feminine energy just watched a masculine energy that departed when things got difficult. When push came to shove, the masculine energy departed when things got hard. So what is the feminine energy doing right now? Even if they're letting new energy in to prevent that from happening again, they are doing things that are difficult. They're almost creating the hard thing first to see if that immediately sends the masculine energy running. And if it does, that's feminine saying good riddance to bad rubbish. The feminine's like, I just saved myself a lot of pain. I just saved myself a lot of work, right? This is feminine, like, and like being like, very hard on the new energy to see if they can stand the heat, right? Masculine, you may be seeing this right now around new feminine energy. It may either one or two different directions, because again, it could be a moment that like you yourself are feeling a little bit of confusion, because it may feel like this energy is being very, very curt, very standoffish. You could be feeling a little uncertainty, be like, do they like me? And it's like, yes, but this feminine energy is very, very protective. It's very, very cautious. And so masculine, I feel like you're trying to like navigate this space or state where it is feeling a point of confusion, because like it is feeling like it's hard to like find a way to get a foothold here. It's hard to like figure out a modality, because you reckon that the anxiety with the masculine is this feminine energy is literally in a space where it's like there's not much room for error. You're seeing that. It's like it's feeling even right now, you're seeing the fact that this is an energy that feels like it's willing to cut you off very quickly. It is almost creating the state of masculine, having to have a little bit of courage here, but feeling that anxiety because it's like almost creating a sense of uncertainty, because there's a fear of potentially saying or doing the wrong thing right now. Masculine, if this is an old energy, it doesn't matter. If this is old or new, it's the same thing. Masculine, you may be kind of realizing right now, even especially if you approach the feminine right now, you may be reconsidering your approach to a certain extent and being like, maybe that was the wrong way of going about something. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Swords in its reversal and our Fool in its upright. One card, please. Seven of Wands in its reversal. Feminine and masculine that are in partnership, choices are being made right now for the sake of the partnership to make things easier going forward. What's nice about this is like much like a Band-Aid effect, a lot of these things, they're becoming easier to do. A lot of the hard parts are already done. Feminine's doing the work that the masculine was doing. This is moving into deeper partnership if this is new partnership energy. Masculine and feminine in partnership, this is just that mutual work that you're doing right now. Again, making decisions for the sake of the partnership, making things easier as you go along. We love to see this. Masculine and feminine in separation. This is where a lot of that difficulty is now lying, because what we're effectively seeing right now is the fact that, again, feminine energy in separation right now is not built on going back, is not waiting. This is a cycle of completion. This is a feminine that has energetically been cutting cords to make things easier for themselves going forward right now. If there's old masculine energy trying to come towards this feminine energy, they better be able to prove to the feminine that they themselves have learned what needs to change, because this is a feminine energy that has literally washed their hands of some situations right now. There's a lot of standoffishness if the masculine comes back right now, because it's in the requirement of the masculine to really amplify to the feminine what has changed. What has changed around the masculine and what effectively caused, like it's all about the fact. It's not about whether the energy comes back, it's whether it has shown the fact that it can change. because feminine in separation right now is walking forward right now and not looking backwards at all. It's a feeling right now, again, not necessarily not the fact that they're not holding some pain to some situations, but they're just continuing forward doggedly, like stoically. This is feminine energy building on stoicism and saying, I'm just moving forward no matter what. Masculine, you could be seeing this right now in the feminine energy. Again, this is either masculine moving towards new feminine energy right now and almost feeling like you're trying to keep pace with them. Because this is not a feminine energy that feels like inclined, I'm getting here, like to give like you an inch. It's like you have to just kind of like, you have to kind of follow where they are. You have to kind of follow their lead to a certain extent. Or this is masculine energy right now trying to go back to old energy and really explain and articulate what has changed. And it needs to explain. You have to explain to them what's been happening in that journey, what's happened in that point of distance, to help validate where you've been if this is old energy returning. Final card for today's spread between our Page of Swords in its reversal and our Seven of Wands in its reversal. We like these two cards together. Four of Cups, not surprising. Again, all energies right now, there is a desire and a point right now of trying to make things easier. Having to effectively pull back on some things right now. But again, it's the confirmation of different choices, making different results. Feminine, again, it's not that feminine's confident right now in separation going forward in this way, but feminine's almost saying, I'm choosing the path of easement. And I'm allowing myself to accept new possibilities or opportunities because feminine is not going to fight for things. Feminine's like, it's not my job to fight for divine union. It's my job to find it. And this is the feminine conceding that is the change. Masculine and separation right now, this is a moment that you're feeling this level or degree of hesitancy even around some new energy, because in a way it's almost recognizing that you need to take a different approach, because this is an energy right now that it's not just enough to express interest. You really have to prove to them that you are a person of your word. Masculine and feminine energy that are trying to come into partnership right now, this is the shedding of the other energy. This is letting some people down easily for the sake of being able to concentrate on the partnership going forward. And for the energies in partnership, this is something that you're continually doing. Bottom of the deck for today's reading is Seven of Cups. There is this feeling of overwhelm that needs to be navigated. The partnered energies right now, it is that moment of recognizing that every time you pull your energy away from something, it's like it's not that like things get easier. It's like there's just so many other opportunities. This is giving a lot of energy and partnership of just feeling like there's too much cake. It's not like where you want to put your energy. It's trying to decide what direction to go into right now. That is a lot of that hurdle and challenge. Masculine and feminine trying to come into partnership right now. This is also that moment. It's a bit of that where do we go from here moment, because masculine and feminine are effectively consolidating their energy to be able to move forward together in this way. Masculine and feminine in separation. We are seeing here that the feminine energy in separation is feeling a bit of that overwhelm because feminine is really anxious about making sure to make the right choice going forward. It's not the fact that there isn't a lack of options. It is feminine trying to find the energy of someone who is actually true to their word, someone that actually like means what they say. That's what the feminine trying to find energy that puts their word to action. Masculine, you may also be feeling this right now, but this is coming through as an uncertainty in how to prove to someone that you are actually authentic in what you are trying to ask for. There's a point right now of really trying to try to say to oneself, how do I show my authenticity to someone who is feeling so anxious in trusting anyone because of the experiences that they've had in the past. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, Strega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind that if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I would like to thank you so much for being here and receiving these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.